world has deemed our individuality to be something that is secondary or supplemental to our serving the country, serving the system, rather. There are many different characteristics that are slowly fading away as history progresses that need to be revived in order for us to have the proper alignment that human beings were meant to have. But one of the most pressing ones would be our agency. What exactly is it and why is it so important? Sovereignty allows us to create containers regarding every single situation that we take on in life. There is a clear understanding on the limitations as well as the implications of this container. Being led by our desire, executing with our willpower, and deciding what makes this container allows us to partake in actions with the utmost meaning. We have the understanding of the boundaries that make up this container, and if we see ourselves going off course, it is far more easy for us to recalibrate when we have the fundamental understanding of what we are doing and why we are doing it, regardless of how small or significant the action is that we are partaking in. This practice allows us to see when we are overstepping our container and allows us to come to a point in which we have no choice but to confront the situation and work through it, allowing for direct inner work to be applied immediately. It's important that it's done as fast as you see it in action, because not only will that instill the right course of action that we can recalibrate and take, but also allowing us to resist in going in the course of direction that may have been perpetuated by a past trauma. Sovereignty only works when we have a desire that we are aiming for in life or in circumstances. We must have something that we want to resolve, that we want to be, and be motivated and inspired to act in that direction. And in order to have the best chance at realizing that desire, it is imperative that we take initiative, impose actively onto our life, as we are the ones who have the power in determining its course, whereas with the people that do not exercise sovereignty, they are more acquainted with passivity, which is going to get them something that they align with, not necessarily something that they want. And even somebody who practices sovereignty will find themselves in this situation. It comes down to a matter of inner work. If you find that you are being blocked from your desires, then you have something that you need to face regarding your inner work that requires your attention, the allowance of dispersion of the energies that have been concentrated within you. There are multiple planes of existence that need calibration in order for all systems to be in go regarding your preferred life trajectory. And of course, persistence, commitment, perseverance, discipline is necessary in maintaining this, because not only do we, biologically speaking, live in a continuous state of homeodynamics, we live the same way externally speaking. Obstacles are always going to be thrown in our path, and we must figure out how to transmute them into something that will then later along the path be a tool in our arsenal instead of an obstacle. And the more tools that we gain, the more obstacles we will be able to bypass because of the work we've done. As states one of the fundamental laws of thermodynamics, with the infinite combinations available to us that can make someone's life, there are far more ones that are not in favor of what we want, which makes getting that dream reality even sweeter, as well as a reason to pursue a journey. So by facing ourselves through inner work, we gain tools in our arsenal that can combat obstacles that will come inevitably on our pathway. The more aspects of our lives that we're capable of transmuting into something positive, something gained, the easier it will be to pursue the reality that we desire. If you are not fluid in your emotions and you have a attachment or identity that grasps onto a particular set of routines, expressions, emotions, or structure, you're going to have a hard time moving gracefully and smoothly through the trials and tribulations that are going to be presented to you. The more and more we find ourselves detaching from these things that seem like they are to be part of our identity, the more independence that we gain, the less weight that we carry, and the more free we feel in the process. We recognize that by having nothing, we are capable of inhabiting everything. There is a sequence of steps that are to occur in the process of self-realization, and the aspect of cultivating an identity is not something that comes so soon as we tend to gravitate towards. Yes, you can still have preferences and have likes and dislikes, but that's something that comes once you have a broader understanding of actually what you truly are beyond the things that washed up on the shore of your life. And that is certainly how your life is playing out if you do not realize your true individuality through sovereignty. It's almost common knowledge now that the 3 lower chakras are the ones that the majority of people are stuck in. Well, this deals with the solar plexus, and ironically enough, that is the chakra of manifestation, as well as dealing with your ego and who you truly are. I like to relate sovereignty to the sun as it is the eminence of individuality. And by emanating its energy around it, it is capable of amplifying everybody else's individuality in the process. It is the ultimate physical manifestation of what sovereignty looks like. And I put Saturn in this category personally because the act of containing who you are and building boundaries that allow you to declare your moralities, your ethics, your likes and dislikes that came from the active impression upon your reality and the interaction with the obstacles that will inevitably be presented to you, build our ego into the most sophisticated version that it could possibly be. To do this, you have to detach from everything and ferment in the things that you feel more called to than the rest of the noise that seems to be surrounding it. So that's why I had written separation and fermentation stages of the alchemical process. It is the biggest current dilemma that we face, not having individuality, yet our entire country declares that it's free. Obviously, we know the sham behind that, but not only regarding the authority that tries to control us, but the controlling factor of our own perception and the things that we absorb quietly acts in the background if we do not pay it the attention that is absolutely necessary to diffuse and clearly see a situation. Because so many of us in modern time have a lack of this actual authentic identity, we find a lot of illnesses and diseases that come from not being grounded in our center. And the best we can do is therapy that goes into surface level depth of the true, deep, unrestricted reality of how complex and vast we are as human beings, but therapy will only go as far as societal structure will allow it. This type of work is best done by yourself. Obviously, allowing external aid when you feel lost, but the entire preaching of sovereignty allows us to feel absolutely comfortable and decisive and sure of who we are and what direction we're headed in, regardless of how dark, uncertain, or unknown it may look. Sovereignty allows us to be comfortable in every step of the way of experiencing our life. It allows us to pursue reality in a way where our collections of trauma or illness or preconceived understandings do not get in the way, and it is simply a matter of our desire and our acting upon it. We don't have many opportunities anymore to be decisive in a way that is intense and clearly shows that you've made a dent in controlling something within your life. But the more present and conscious you are of who you are, which comes with the inner work, comes with meditation, you start to understand how every single decision actually holds just about as much power as what you can deem to be very intense and groundbreaking. This type of person is not one that can be swayed by societal norms that are outdated or structures that declare they have power over us when ultimately we are smarter than them. We are more progressive than they are in the track of evolution. It is the ultimate knowing of who you are, what you stand for, and the absolute unwavering determination to see yourself in a position regardless of the obstacles that are present in the external reality. To reclaim this is to reclaim your inherent power. If you want to or not, you will be a major role model for the people who hadn't had this type of influence in their life. You, as someone who declares individuality in its most wholesome representation, will influence future generations by just being you. Not to mention, life will feel more practical. It will feel more whole in every aspect, even if it seems like you are going against your individuality, your perceived individuality. Cut off the strings of your mask and reveal the true version of yourself that needs nothing else, not even its own reflection, to know who it is.